What is up, guys? We are here with the Aganos character breakdown. Now, normally when I do these breakdowns, I select the character twice, right? So I would have Aganos on player 1 and player 2, but this is sort of a special case. I want you guys to see the size comparison of Aganos and a character like Jago. So just pre-warning you, when you have this character selected, the game camera is gonna change. As you can see there, the game camera is actually zoomed out because this character is so tall that you have to have the camera zoomed out, otherwise he wouldn't quite fit. So this character is really interesting. He is very slow, right, as you can see here, but we're going to fix that in a second. Just get rid of those. So this is his natural move speed, right? This is Aganos' natural move speed. His backdash, forward dash, looks like that. Not very great, right? He has pretty good jump mobility, and his walk speed's not awful. He gets around, right? He's not terribly slow, but he's still pretty slow. But he has unique mechanics that can actually slow him down while also giving him armor, which are called chunks, right? So when I put on 2 chunks, as you can see in the bottom left there's a little indicator, there's 2 rocks. I'm a lot slower now. I walk a lot slower, I move a lot slower, but I have 2 hits of armor. Okay, if I put on all 4, I'm way slower. I'm significantly slower, as you guys can see there. My jump arc's a lot worse, my normals are slower, they come out slower, very, very slow. But I have 4 hits of armor, so if my opponent is to do a super that hits 5 times, just walk up and shadow wind kick. You saw it hit 4 times in a row before it actually hit me because of the armor. So if you're playing as Aganos, you can absorb a ton of stuff with 4 hits. That's every shadow move minus 1 hit of it. So in the time that you're absorbing that, you can actually interrupt the shadow move with your buttons, just whatever button you want. So speaking of his buttons, let's talk about his normals. This is a standing jab and crouching jab. The unique thing about these normals is that they actually destroy projectiles. So, yeah. None of this. That just, yeah. Get out of here. It's not a thing against Aganos. You can't just throw projectiles like that for free. Standing and crouching jab destroys projectiles. Standing medium punch, crouching medium punch. Standing heavy punch, crouching heavy punch. So his crouching medium punch actually goes really far. You can't tell because the screen's zoomed out, but it actually goes really far. Like, it hits from a pretty good distance. His standing heavy punch reaches really far, too. It has some knockback on it. His crouching heavy punch is pretty good anti-air. His standing light kick, crouching light kick, standing medium kick, crouching medium kick, standing heavy kick, crouching heavy kick. He also has a unique normal, a command normal, which is forward heavy kick, which is just that walk forward right there. And you can just keep chaining that together by hitting heavy kick over and over. So that is his unique normal. But yeah, his standing heavy kick is actually a wall splat. If there is a wall nearby. So let me just kick him back. So you can see there, it is a wall splat. And then you can do like a throw after or whatever normal wall splat mix-ups you want to do. Same thing with his jumping heavy kick, also a wall splat. His jumping heavy punch actually knocks people down into the ground, so that's pretty interesting as well. And his his standing heavy kick hits twice, or crouching heavy kick, excuse me. So it's a mid into a low. So his heavy normals are pretty interesting. When it comes to his jump one, he has the flick in air, jump light kick, jump medium punch, jump medium kick, jumping heavy punch, jumping heavy kick. And as we already explained, jumping heavy punch is a bounce and jumping heavy kick is a wall splat. So those are his normals. Let's talk about his special moves. Before we get into the chunk mechanics and everything like that, we'll break down the rest of his special moves. So quarter circle forward kick. This move is a really interesting move. It has a lot of different mechanics going on. I'll have to explain them to you. So on block, this move bounces off. It's very punishable. As you can see there, I can't do anything for a long time. So I'm holding up. I can actually cross my opponent up. That is one of the things about this move is that it actually can be used as a cross-up, as you can see there, right? But it is very, very unsafe if you go for that. Very, very tricky move. The shadow version of it, you can actually... Whoops, I keep doing the wrong move. The shadow version of it, you can actually hold the kicks and not move for a while. So that is kind of like Blanca's Ultra in Street Fighter. So that's what happens with that move. It has a couple of different things to it. His quarter circle back kick is this. Has a lot of mechanics involved in it, but if it just hits raw and there's nothing else going on the screen, then it is a wall crash. That is the technical term for it. You can also do it in combos, like as an ender, like that, and it is his damage ender. Looks just like that. The shadow version of it has unlimited hyper armor, which means it's gonna go through everything. There's nothing you can do to stop it, but it is very unsafe on block, and it goes full screen really fast. So if your opponent throws a projectile from like this range, he's dead. You're gonna punch him, and that's all there is to it. His quarter circle back light punch is this. It's a lariat move. He just kind of spins. It's very, very good for openers and linkers on your combos. His quarter circle forward light punch. It doesn't do anything when you don't have chunks, but when you do have chunks, you can use it to shoot projectiles. Now, there's 3 different versions of projectiles, so I'll get 3 chunks. You already saw the low one. There is the medium punch one, and there is the heavy one where he does that and he kind of shoots off a bunch of projectiles. That does a lot of chip. So let me turn off health regen so you guys can see how much chip it does. It actually does more damage too, depending on how close you are. Oh, I should probably put him on all block, huh? Whoops. So let me set the opponent to, here, let me regen the health. And then I'll set the opponent to auto block. Look, that does a grip of chip damage. That is like what, like 5% in chip? So that is a lot. If you do like 2 of these, you get actually a pretty decent amount of health. Is the health regen? Okay, cool. You actually do a pretty decent amount of health in chip. Look at that. That is a lot of damage. That's like a throw's worth of damage in chip. That's pretty crazy. So those are his projectiles. That's his quarter circle forward light punch. Now the shadow version of this is very unique because after he hits the ground, those rocks are coming out. Okay, after the ground, the rocks go up, they are coming down. Now you can throw Aganos or try to interrupt with like a shadow, a move that goes through projectiles, but the rocks are going to come down, so you'll eventually have to block. So the interesting thing about this move is it's very good for getting chunks while you're doing it, right? So I can just grab myself some armor while it's going on, and now I have 2 pieces of armor, which means, you know, I can start zoning or whatever I want to do with them. So those are his special moves. Now let's talk a little bit about what he can do with these chunks. So we've seen that you can use it for armor. That's one use of the chunk. We've seen that you can use it as a projectile. That's another use. But one of the other uses for it, the third use, is creating walls. So if you hit all 3 punches, you create a wall behind your opponent. If you hit back in all 3 punches, you create a wall behind yourself. Now these walls aren't just there to look pretty. They actually serve a mechanic. You cannot jump past them. The game walls are now where these walls are. So the game does not go past that. I can't jump over him or anything like that. And I can do a wall splat, and that counts as a wall splat. That is a wall that you can wall splat. I have him on auto block. So that is a wall you can wall splat against, as you can see there. Now, the thing about these walls, as you probably already noticed, is that they took some damage on the first one and the second one. The third one will destroy it. So each wall has 3 hit points. Now, another unique thing about these walls is that if it's behind Aganos, you can hit back in all 3 punches and pick it up. So now you have a weapon. Now, this goes really far. Like, that is just barely out of range, as you guys can see there. So the heavy punch is an overhead, and the crouching heavy punch is a low. You can also chain it. So standing medium punch, heavy punch, or standing jab, medium, and then heavy punch is a chain. You can also do the same thing with the crouching heavy punch. So you can turn it into a 50-50. And just as you saw the walls, when they're standing up by themselves, they have 3 hits of armor when you use them as a club. The other thing about these walls is that it is a very strong projectile. It pretty much goes through everything. And it's really fast, and it does a grip of damage. So walls are really good, but they do take time to get up. You have to get the chunk, you have to put the wall behind you, and you have to grab it. And then the whole time, he can just be throwing projectiles. He can be trying to approach or jump or punish me for it. So there's a lot to keep in mind when you are trying to do these things. Now, earlier we mentioned that this move is a wall crash, and that's pretty important for Aganos. As you guys can probably guess, if there's a wall behind your opponent and you manage to land one of these, he's going to go through, and it does a grip, like almost 30%. Yeah, 33% there. So it does a grip of damage. Now, you can also do this in a combo. So let's say I do like I'll do a short combo, and, oh, whoops, I did the wrong ender, but I'll do a short combo into the wall crash ender. So that is his damage ender. Normally, it doesn't do very much damage by itself, but when there's a wall, it does an absolute grip. It does an insane amount of damage. So let's push him a little bit, like right over here. Man, he is so slow. Okay, so we're going to set the wall up, reset him. We'll set another wall up. Now, if I punch him through 2 walls, it does about 50%, as you can see there. You can punch him through up to 4 walls. So there can be all 4 walls, and you just go through and punch them through all of it. It does like 80-something% of damage. It's crazy. It does a grip. You can also use it when you have a... So he throws a projectile or something like that. You do the shadow version, and you can punch him through like that. So you saw one wall was, yeah, like 40% damage. So this takes a lot of setting up, and your opponent can be ready for it, but you can make the stage very small. So if I have, let's say, just 2 chunks right here, stage there, or wall there, wall behind me. So now the stage is this big. Like, he doesn't have very much room to move around. You can't really get away from Aganos in this sense. And if he already has like another chunk for armor, you have a huge opponent who does a ton of damage if he hits you with a piece of armor, and the stage is this big. So you can see how pretty quickly things can get kind of dangerous against Aganos. Let's get rid of this. Another way to get rid of these walls is for your opponent to throw you. So if I throw Aganos once, then the wall takes 1 damage, twice the wall takes 2 damage, and as you could probably guess, the wall is going to explode at 3. So that is another way to get rid of the walls. Now, the interesting thing about Aganos is that despite all this, it might not strategically be the best idea to always have 4 chunks as you would imagine, right? Because when you do have 4 chunks, you move so slow. If I was trying to get in on a character like Fulgore who's zoning me out or something like that, there's no way I would want to have this many chunks. I would just try to get rid of those just so I can get in. And now I'm faster, right? I have a better chance of getting in. So this character has a lot of unique decisions that you have to make, right? So not only with the wall mechanics and how you keep your chunks and stuff like that, but whether you pick this up or you keep it there as a wall, a stage wall, so he can't run away, you know, whether you want to destroy walls, all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of decision making to be going on, and this character is very, very different from everybody else. He doesn't play like any other character. He has the same kind of combo mechanics, but besides that, he is very different. The other unique thing about him is that his auto doubles hit twice, but they're not 2 hits, if that makes any sense. So you can see there was no difference in animation. He just did 2 hits that look exact same, right? Just that punch right there. When I do Jago's heavy auto doubles, you'll see it's 2 different hits, right? And that's the same for all auto doubles. So that's medium right there. They're 2 different hits. His auto doubles are not like that. Whoops. His auto doubles are not like that at all. They're just 2 hits that look the exact same pretty much with no change, which actually makes breaking him a little bit easier. So even then, this character is different in terms of combo mechanics. But despite all that, he's a very interesting character. He's very different, and he's a lot of fun to play as and against. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this character breakdown. There'll be some Aganos gameplay soon on the channel if you guys want to subscribe for that. Stick around for stuff like that. Lots of KI content on the way and some really, really great stuff concerning the leagues that are just got introduced. So thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this Aganos character breakdown, and I'll see you guys again soon.